Everyone wants to be rich. Richer than the YouTubers that we watch. Richer than the people we know in our lives. At the very least, rich enough not to have a job and feel like a poor-ass person. We want FU money. We want to be able to blind our manager at work with our brand new Rolex when we hand in our 2 weeks notice, right? Be like, you know what? I'm done, Greg. I'm done with this office. I'm done with this job. And I'm done with you. Oh, and that report you gave me last minute Friday afternoon? ChatGPT wrote it all. We all want to be rich so bad that we watch YouTube videos called 4 side hustles in 2023 that will make you $900 a day, but never actually make any money from watching these videos. Goddamn clickbait. So irresistible. The only thing I've learned from those videos is that me watching them is making that YouTuber $900 a day. So maybe the answer isn't in a YouTube video, but in a book. Do you remember books? Do you remember seeing them when you were in college or high school? As a reminder, imagine a book like a really long blog post or a super duper long tweet thread. You can't read it in 2x speed and you can't get all the info from it while also watching Subway Surfers or a Minecraft jump and run game in the background, which means you might have to watch one of those dopamine detox YouTube videos first just to be able to learn how to read a book again. Or you can just watch this video because I'm going to summarize what I've learned from the book, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel for you. You're very welcome. Oh, and a special thank you to Ali Abdal, whose exact same video title brought me this beautiful person watching my video now. Thanks, Ali. The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel tells us that to become financially successful, how we behave with money is more important than what we know about making money. For example, lottery winners have made money, but so many of them end up back at the trailer park because they never knew how to behave with it. I'm personally shocked to learn that spending millions on crack cocaine and hookers would have such a negative impact on someone's life. It's not entirely their fault though. Lottery winners were never taught how to behave with money. It would be like giving a puppy access to an open bag of flour. What did you imagine would happen when you left him home alone? To get money, you have to take some risks, be optimistic, put yourself out there. But to keep money, that's a different skill. It requires humility and the knowledge that what you've made can be taken away from you just as fast, like a plane's Wi-Fi signal. It's weird because in the book, Housel talks about having short-term paranoia about money so that we keep it, but also maintaining long-term optimism about money so that we reap the benefits of compounding and the growing global economy. Like short-term paranoia about leaving the iron on at home, but long-term optimism that you've never burned down a house before, so it'll probably all be fine in the long term. But the way each of us currently feels about money now and the risk tolerance we have towards it is actually just a reflection of each of our personal circumstances growing up. So much of it depends on how money was talked about in our homes and what kind of economy we experienced in our early lives. If you were raised with a scarcity mindset about money because you grew up during a recession, then you behaved with money like it was never available, like good parking spaces. But if you were raised with an abundance mindset towards money and truly believe that there's plenty of it out there and many ways to make it, then you behave with money like it was always coming at you from all angles, like unsolicited advice from relatives. Maybe those relatives have all been watching the same YouTube videos we've been watching and are advising you that dropshipping isn't dead yet. I actually started a dropshipping store in 2017 called bonusstyle.com, which was a women's clothing store fully sourced from Alibaba that did a grand total of 0 sales. It was, of course, entirely my fault since it was me who made the smart decision to start a Shopify store about products in the target market I knew nothing about. At least the only thing important I lost was my time and not my money since there wasn't anything invested up front. Which is why this book advises dealing with failures in such a way that a bad investment or a missed financial goal doesn't wipe you out, so that you can keep playing until the odds fall in your favor. Plan for success, but the most important part of every plan is to plan on the plan, not going according to plan. I guess I plan too many times. We all want the big win, the 100x crypto returns, and we all want it now. Housel says that's how you get wrecked. I mean, he didn't say it in that language, of course, but he says we're better off being financially unbreakable, To be in the game for long enough so that compounding money and compounding knowledge can work its wonders on us. To be that guy that says no to the hot new business model, hi AI, and just diligently goes into monk mode for a couple of years on the one business model that they're most suited to. Because we are all, and I'm quoting Housel from the book, screwed up emotional people. We cannot expect ourselves to behave coldly rational, especially when it comes to money. Housel suggests for us to be just pretty reasonable. Pretty reasonable is more realistic and will have a better chance of sticking with it for the long run, which is what matters most when it comes to dealing with money. Pretty reasonable does not mean winning the lottery and then spending it all on crack cocaine and hookers. To be pretty reasonable means to see how people normally behave with money and expect ourselves to possibly react in the same way. Similar to the way people behave when they get an unexpected cash windfall. Since they weren't expecting that money, they don't treat it the same way as if they'd earned it. But it's still money, and $100 you weren't expecting is still the same as $100 you earned yourself. So, better that we don't just put it all on Robinhood on 50x leverage and lose it all in a matter of minutes. In the book, Housel says the further back in history we look, the more general our takeaway should be. So general things like people's relationships to greed and fear, how they behave under stress, and how they respond to incentives tend to be stable in time. We can all expect ourselves to react in similar ways because we're only human and we can see the patterns. Like when a pizza is just out the oven and someone is starving. You and I both know that they're gonna burn the top of their mouth with cheese, aren't they? What pretty reasonable means for you is different to someone else watching this video because we're all playing different money games. We all have different knowledge, opportunities, stakes, and goals. So it's important to focus on the game you're playing, not the game I'm playing or the game Elon Musk is playing. I mean, Elon Musk is living in his own world, and I don't mean Mars. The point is, we're all money people, but we're not all playing the same game of money. Just like LeBron James and Tom Brady are athletes, but they're not playing the same sport. Focus on your capabilities, your behavior with money, and stop trying to time your investments into Dogecoin with Elon Musk's tweets. Just for context, Dogecoin peaked at like 70 cents, and now it's like 7 cents. That's pretty painful, but it's a sunk cost, so you've got to move on from it. Housel explains sunk costs as holding your current self as a prisoner to a decision your past self made. You gotta move on from Dogecoin and just take the L. Your past self from a few years ago is like a stranger to you now. So why would you go along with a financial decision a stranger made for you? Stop trying to minimize regret and just sell it. The sooner it's done, the sooner that remaining money can be put to good use to make more money, like investing in a course about how to trade crypto. Wouldn't that return a higher ROI than leaving it in Dogecoin? Housel even says in this book that a good rule of thumb for many things in life is that everything that can break will eventually break. And if many things rely on one thing working, you are counting the days to catastrophe. That's the single point of failure, like Elon Musk is to Dogecoin. That's the tricky thing about money. When you hear someone talking pessimistically about Dogecoin, the economy, or the employment rate, it often sounds smarter and more plausible than optimism. Tell someone things will be all right, and they'll just shrug you off. Tell them something potentially dangerous is coming, and you'll have their undivided attention. Why do you think the news is so powerful and so many people are addicted to CNN and Fox News? No wonder those two stations both love Donald Trump in their own weird ways. Here's a great line from the book to keep in mind. Progress happens too slowly to notice, but setbacks happen too quickly to ignore. There are lots of overnight tragedies. There are rarely overnight miracles. Great line. Housel says it's the same way with money, just like it is with the news. It's very hard to notice the good things happening over a long period of time when the progress isn't visible. It can feel like it's not happening fast enough, if at all. I mean, I often wonder how many more years it's going to take me to get six-pack abs. While it may not be sexy or cool to say it, Housel believes every investor should just pick the strategy that has the highest odds of successfully meeting their goals. And he thinks for most investors, dollar cost averaging into a low index fund will provide the highest odds of long-term success. Is it going to make you rich anytime soon? No. Is he saying don't take that money and invest in yourself? No. But what he is saying is to recognize the game that you want to play for the character that you are and stick to it. For example, if LeBron James was a playable character on Madden, you wouldn't pick him as your quarterback, would you? Of course not. Not the right character for the right game. It would be cool though, I might still pick him. I'm not gonna lie, when I read this advice in the book about dollar cost averaging into low index funds, it was kind of sucky to hear. And I think I figured out the reason why is because global wealth inequality just seems to be getting bigger. It's clear the economy works better for some people than others. Traditional industries aren't a meritocracy, at least less so now than they ever were. So in new online markets, social media, e-commerce, AI, we see the huge gains that people like us are getting, and we just want some of that action too. Alex Hormozy says it well. Instead of investing in the S&P 500, we should invest in the S&Me, because the ROI in investing yourself is higher and the compounding effect on your education is huge long term. Damn it, Hormozy, now I'm confused. Do I play it safe, keep a steady job, climb the corporate ladder, and put all my energy and attention on that while dollar cost averaging into an index fund? Or invest in myself, become a lifelong entrepreneur, and truly invest 100% of my time and effort into that? Because investing 50% into the corporate job and 50% into being an entrepreneur may not get me far in either one. So what do I do? Maybe just follow the one with the highest ROI to get crack cocaine and hookers? I really struggle with this because I want to be financially independent and not have a job. In the past few years, I've started 3 dropshipping stores, self-published a book, tried to create an online community for men, tried to create a social media marketing agency, learned a bit of coding, and now I've been focusing on YouTube for the past year. What I've learned about myself is that when something starts to get a little bit hard and I don't see the results I should have no right to expect to see so quickly, I get a little demotivated and start looking for the next thing. I might as well be on crack cocaine with my lack of discipline and focus. I tell myself an excuse about why the current thing I'm doing now isn't working and why I need to move on to something else, when really it's me that's not working. Literally, I'm not willing to put in the 2 years of working hard with nothing happening before something may happen. My lack of discipline is used to the instant gratification of tweets, when it needs to be hardened to the slow and steady grind of books. This is something I picked up on a recent Hamza video, the difference between discipline, willpower, and motivation. Discipline is being able to do something even when you don't want to do it, like working on your business every day and seeing little to no results for a long time. Willpower is stopping yourself from doing something you want to do, like watching porn and fapping. And motivation is already wanting to do something you should be doing, like playing sports to stay healthy. I'm struggling with the discipline part when it comes to business and money. Which part are you struggling with, and why do you think that is? Didn't mean this to turn into like a therapy session, but it really is something to think about. Because I think we're all pretty smart guys, but intelligence and access to knowledge isn't a competitive advantage like it used to be. Everyone has access to all the information in the world. What matters is how we apply it. Remember what Housel said in this book. It's not about what we know about making money, it's how we behave with money that's the most important thing. It's not about what we know, but how we behave. For example, we know we shouldn't engage with that one uncle about politics, but are we able to behave ourselves when he starts talking about his conspiracy theories at Thanksgiving dinner? This simple advice applies to the businesses we're trying to create to make money. For example, I know a lot about YouTube. I've made 3 videos now that have over 100k views on this channel, which is pretty decent considering the number of subscribers I have. But what's important will be how I behave when it comes to the knowledge I have. Can I be someone who's diligently writing scripts, recording videos, and editing for another 100 plus videos without getting discouraged? Without being distracted by the next shiny business idea? This is the part of the therapy session when you realize I'm not just talking about myself, I'm talking about you too. And I know I'm talking about you watching this video now, because I would also have clicked on a video with this title, The Book That Changed My Financial Life. Housel understands this is what we want. Freedom. Freedom to do what we want, when we want, where we want, how we want, and with who we want. Happiness is a complicated subject because everyone is different. But if there's one thing we all have in common, it's that every single person in the world wants control of their lives. And this is what money can give us. That's why we spend our lives trying to get as much money as we can. It's to be able to wake up every morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. That is the most valuable thing money can give us. Forget about the crack cocaine and hookers. That's why even when we do work we like for someone else, it can still feel unsatisfying. Because doing something you love on a schedule you can't control can feel the same as doing something you hate. I find this to be such a wild realization that I only learned after reading it in this book. Financial independence is what Housel says should be our top goal. Once we achieve it, we should aim to live comfortably below what we can afford so that we don't have the social pressure and unnecessary risk of trying to keep up with the Joneses. Forget the Joneses. The Joneses don't share your passion for memes and napping anyway. Remember, to get to this goal of financial independence, it's not about what you know about money, but how you behave with money. A great rule of thumb Housel recommends is to ask ourselves, does this help me sleep at night? This can be your guidepost for all your financial decisions going forward. No matter how you earn, save, or invest, maximize for sleeping well at night, and for those naps too. The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel really is a book that's changed my financial life and how I think about the money decisions I make. These are just my main takeaways from the book, and you should check it out yourself if you're interested to learn more. I really do hope it helps you take that one step closer to the FU money we're all working hard for. I'll see you in the next episode. At least the only thing Housel explains as some cost as like holding yourself. Housel explains some, do I play it safe, keep a steady job, climb the corporate ladder and put all my energy and attention on that white. Do I play it safe, keep a steady job, climb the corporate ladder and put all my energy and attention on that. Do I play it safe, keep a steady job, climb this. That's why even when we work, that's why even when we center it. No, yeah. I don't even know if it's transcribing. It better be. Yes. Water.